Last month, Islamist insurgents, including Al-Qaeda's wing in Syria, Nusra Front, captured the town of Jish al-Shumhur in Syria's Idlib province, edging closer to the government-held heartland of Latakia along the coast. In turn, Syrian President al-Assad said army setbacks were part of normal warfare. Battles have been raging around the hospital and the southwestern outskirts of Jish al-Shumhur, where army forces and allied fighters have been holed up since the extremist offensive began. Government forces have endured a series of setbacks on the battlefield, and Islamist fighters have edged closer to Assad's stronghold in the coastal areas. Meanwhile, Saudi Arabia is actively supporting a hardline coalition of Islamist rebels against al-Assad's regime that includes Al-Qaeda's affiliate in Syria. The country is focusing its backing on the combined Jish al-Fatah, or the Army of Conquest, a command structure for the jihadist groups in Syria that includes Jabhat al-Nusra, an extremist rival to Islamist State, which shares many of its aspirations for a fundamentalist caliphate. It threatens to trump Washington's own attempt to train so-called pro-Western opposition fighters announced by President Barack Obama a year ago, but finally launched only last week. The number of fighters involved is small, and crucially, the State Department insists that they would take the field against ISIS and not against the regime. However, Washington's official attitude has to be examined apart from its real interests. Many refer a rising of terroristic entities such as Al-Qaeda and Islamic State with US's activity in the region. The Army of Conquest is a coalition whose formation was announced in March, comprises a range of mostly jihadist and Islamist groups, including Al-Qaeda affiliate Jabhat al-Nusra, Jund al-Aqsa, and the powerful Islamist Akha al-Sham. Its command center is established in Idlib, northern Syria. Turkish officials admit giving logistical and intelligence support to the command headquarters. Although they deny giving direct help to al-Nusra, they acknowledge that the group would be beneficiaries. Turkish officials claim that bolstering Akha al-Sham will weaken the influence of al-Nusra. Material support, arms and money have been coming from the Saudis, say rebels and officials. Syria will face greater instability and control by extremist groups as soon as Syrian President al-Assad's momentum in fighting off rebel groups is decreased. US security officials attribute the gains of militants in part to their wide battleground experience and ability to use advanced tactics. There are also marks that extremists have become more coherent in their organization. The US is continuing to argue that it supports only moderate rebels. Meanwhile, US officials pointed out that they still had trouble identifying moderate partners, while Al-Qaeda, affiliate al-Nusra, and Islamic State were trying to take advantage of any cracks in the government's control. On account of these facts, the question arises: if the US has trouble with identifying moderate rebel groups and its training of pro-Western opposition fighters has failed, which entities is the US supporting now? The Foreign Minister of Russia, Sergei Lavrov, met his US counterpart John Kerry on Tuesday in the Russian city of Sochi. Addressing the media after the talks, both diplomats stressed that they were on common ground with regards to many issues, including the situation in Syria and the threat of Islamic State terrorists in the region, as well as the Iranian nuclear deal. They also discussed the developing conflict in Yemen. The Russian ambassador to the United States, Sergei Kislyak, added that the discussion between the ministers and President Putin will help to find priorities and outline a future course in the relations between the two countries.